Welcome back to the rest of the story. I really wanted to just show you guys what we all came up with this harvester gearbox. These guys saw in the last video, we did get this pulled out of the silo. The auger is looking kind of rough. I mean, it's not beautiful, but it will definitely work again. It's not, the flighting isn't down to where it's razor sharp. I mean, it's the original auger that was in there. We do have some damage here that we're gonna have to sort out. Not entirely sure if it's replace the whole auger or if it's just gonna be weld some patches on there. We don't run a huge amount of corn through this silo anymore, at least for the time being. It's not like we fill it. That silo right there, the little one, that holds about 10,000 bushels, peaked clear up to the top. And we got plans, and you can sit and talk about big plans all you want, but we do intend on getting more cattle around here, and I mean, rather seriously, like we could be getting a few more, and an unknown number yet this year yet. At least that's what's been kicked around. Now myself, with all of my rest of the story viewers, you guys all know my intentions are very clear that I do want to get more cattle around of my own. I used to have cattle. I used to have a herd of 12, which, you know, huge numbers, right? But my goal is to get up to 30, 40, 50. The reason, like, having a beef herd like that as opposed to like backgrounding steers or heifers or anything else like that is I'm not having to throw money up front just to make that initial purchase, as opposed to if I'm raising my own calves, well, like producing my own calves, and then I have the option to either raise them up as feeders and then sell them, or go back and finish them out entirely, which is why having like this corn silo here for being able to use it for feed is really handy and important, that we're not just letting it fall apart. So this is the gearbox. This is what was giving us the problem. This is what she looked like when we got it torn apart. I mean, I think it's got a good 20-30 hours of running on it yet. Any other comments? That is a joke. Just putting that out there. So we have 3 solutions to do this. I talked to the local harvester parts place. It's up in Dodgeville. Good 45 minutes, an hour away, but I got 3 options. I'm gonna take this up hopefully tomorrow. Hopefully. The guy has said that he's up in Minnesota, working on a silo up in Minnesota, but the plan is they're gonna be back tomorrow. I'm gonna take this up if I got time. Things might be stacking against me right now to get it done tomorrow yet, but take it up, look at it, either go through and figure out what we're all going to need for parts, and either I'll get the parts and I'll look at fixing it myself. Option 2, we go up, we look at it, and he says he can rebuild it for X amount of dollars. Just leave it with him and then go get it the next day, and we go that route. Option 3, which is possibly the route we're going to go with, he says that what they typically do, he's done a lot in the past, is he's got a bunch of these gearboxes already rebuilt in the shop, ready to go. So option 3 is we take this up, we get a credit back for swapping this one out, get a reman, pay a little bit more on top of that, and we have a gearbox that is ready to go, and we could be feeding out of that silo potentially the same day. That depends on when we get back, but within a day or two, as opposed to me taking the time to finish tearing this thing apart. I mean, I do have this cover off here already, but the bearing, get it in the sunlight, it is pretty well shook. I mean, what was happening is, if you guys can see how, I wish I had my light. I don't know if you guys can see how tight the gears fit in here, but it doesn't have to move out very much at all, and these gears start colliding with each other because the tolerances are so tight, and that's exactly what was happening when it didn't have any load on it. When the sweep was shut off, I mean, there was no real torque or anything on the shafts. It would run it fine. Let's say if the corn was falling right down the center, it ran fine, but we were currently running the sweep. We just engaged it probably 3 or 4 weeks ago. Yeah, it was the first part of January. And what happened is now with running the sweep, it's taking a little bit more torque. And that's exactly what happens, is that when we engage the sweep, because that's what Ryan and I found out the other day when we were trying to get it to run. We could run it, it would run fine with the sweep disengaged, but the second you engage the sweep and it needed that extra power, it would lock right up and it wouldn't do anything. So the motor's fine. The unloading auger has seen better days. This is the first time this has given us any trouble. I talked to Dad, and Dad confirmed that this is the first time this has ever been off the silo. First time that's ever been pulled out of the silo. First time it's really given us any issues. I mean, you can see it's got ancient grease and everything in it, but well, I'm sorry, it's oil, but it's just been in there for years and years and decades. But that's where we currently stand on this. For those of you that are wondering how we're getting away with feeding cattle right now, because cattle still need to get fed, that's right. I mean, you can't just, the feeding system quits and the cattle are just SOL. You can get away with that for maybe one feeding, but cattle start losing their conditioning really quick if you skip feeding them. I mean, it's bad herdsmanship too. I mean, if you're not taking care of your cattle, right? So what we're doing, and this is what we did the morning that I was supposed to leave for Kentucky. This was a last minute panic thing, but we ended up having to pull the stock trailer out of the corn crib because we had the M&W sitting behind the stock trailer. Pulled the stock trailer out, plowed a bunch of snow to get over to our Sioux grain bin, our 20,000 bushel bin on this side here. And we ended up filling about a third of this M&W wagon up. So we have access to grain to feed our steers and our heifers. And all we're doing, just, it's amazing how the simplest little setup can save you a world of headache. And all we do is just run it out. A little board to funnel it down into the tub here. And all you got to do is imagine, it doesn't take too much. There's a 5-gallon bucket sitting right about here, and we fill our buckets up and we go. We just got done with that. I'm running solo right now. I'm waiting for people to show up, and I'm waiting for phone calls. So I think majority of our viewers can understand what that is like. I mean, sitting on go. So yeah, it's winter, but it's getting to where it kind of wants to feel like spring. We're starting to lose a little bit of snow and ice right around the buildings. I did plow snow down at my place this morning because I didn't do it like 2 days ago. And the problem I got is I have a blade. I just use the 76 in the blade. And by doing that, I can only push it back so far going up and down my driveway. That's getting to where I'm going to have to take the skid steer down and push it back with the skid steer. So I don't know, first world problems, I guess. But this is probably the worst. Oh, this is the most snowfall we've had in a winter in quite a while. Somebody said that just the other day. We really had a mild first part of winter, I mean late fall, early winter. It was about the middle of January before all of the white stuff started to show up. And when it showed up with vengeance. I don't know what the weather forecast is currently, but the way the weather is going right now, about every 2 to 4 days we're getting a measurable amount of snow. And by measurable, I don't mean like inch to 2 inches. It's usually 4 to 10. This last one was about 6 inches, and the piles are really starting to mount up. But the plus side of the piles is that Rocket and Calvin, Luna, like the dogs, they really like to play in the snow piles. It's really fun to get the dogs running around playing. I mean, the cold weather really doesn't seem to hurt them at all. They actually seem to enjoy it. Not this guy. I am a cold weather, or I'm a warm weather person. So, I don't think you guys are really coming to my channel for updates on the trailer, but the trailer is making some headway. It is on the downhill slope as far as getting that done. Dad and Ryan just got on one set of tires, I think. I don't know, Dad and Ryan just left actually, so I was plowing snow and doing other odd jobs. Cross my fingers, I hope I'm done with taxes. I just literally spent about 6 hours this morning, and then 6 hours, no, it was 6 hours yesterday and 5 hours today working on getting my taxes done, so hopefully those are done. Louisville is in the rearview mirror, and as soon as I get my taxes back and figure out what all I got to pay in or whatever they come up with, it's pretty much looking forward to spring from here on out. I mean, we are looking at the 1st of March already, finally. I don't think it's going to happen this year, but in years past, usually by the end of March, if the weather starts cooperating, we'll start trying to get fences fixed, checked, run around everything so we can focus on planting. Last year, that definitely didn't happen. Last year, it was, I believe we were planting before we got done checking all of our fence. I absolutely hate doing that. The reason I like checking fence before everything starts to green up and all the plants start to grow and all the brush and everything starts to get leaves on it is that it actually makes it a lot easier to check fences when everything is pretty well dead and brown, because our fence rows that are covered in brush, and we got fence rows that are older than me. I mean, it happens. You can't keep it on top of everything over all this time. Well, those are the fence rows that really need to be bulldozed out and redone. I mean, we can go ahead and say that. But these fence rows that are covered in brush and everything else like that, you can see them from a distance to see if you need to go in and fight thorns and brush and everything to patch wires. So, and the problem is with more snow like we've had this year, a lot of snow is really hard on the fences because it drifts in the fence lines. And then if most of you are aware of the fact that when snow starts to melt, it does get kind of hard. And what happens is, as the snow starts to melt, it grabs onto the wires and it actually pulls on the wires. And the new stuff, the new fences, the new wires, it doesn't seem to bother that much. But on the older wires, the war wire, I mean, war wire is the wire that was practically paper thin. That's the wire that really is affected by all the snow, because it'll drag it right down to the ground. Oh, my phone's ringing. All right, I guess I gotta answer that. Thanks for watching. I thought you guys would like to update on the gearbox, and wish us luck and hopefully getting it fixed back up. And we'll see if I can try to get a video of us putting it back together, but no promises. Thanks for watching. Take care. Take it easy. Keep in touch. Stay warm. I'll talk to you guys later.
And now you know the rest of the story.